Good morning, committee members. My name's Steve Castor. I'm the regional director for the Painters and Allied Trades here in the Central Valley. Like the gentleman before me, I too oppose this bill, primarily based on the impact. And I would just mention that there are several projects within our area here that are slated for completion and field turf installation. And because of the financial impact that this potentially has on our school districts and municipalities, I would urge the committee to instigate all the caution necessary with this bill. So I stand in opposition of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional witnesses.
Good morning, committee members. My name is Tony Tafani. I'm a business representative for District Council 16. I represent workers that install this turf. They've been installing this turf for 20 plus years, and I have yet to hear of any of our workers who've gotten sick due to this work, and they are working 10 to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Again, like I said, for many years. Also, there's a cost effectiveness on it. I was just about a month ago watching them replace the infill, the rubber infill. The rubber infill had not broken down. They have machines that take it up. So this was after several years of the turf being down. They were still able to use that rubber infill when they installed the new turf. They replaced the rubber infill that they extracted from the old turf. And I just want to let you know that I am opposed to SB 47. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, Vince Echeverria. I'm the Director of Service for District Council 16. You've heard a lot of the arguments, and I guess you'll be hearing some more, but I just want to let you know I'm opposed to this bill on behalf of the membership. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your brevity.
Thank you. James Hewitt, San Jose, California. I'm the assistant to the business manager, secretary, treasurer. Thank you for your time. I'm here to oppose the bill for the increased cost. They tell us it's going to be somewhere between 15 to 20% over the cost of their current bidding process. So the cost that will affect the schools, the municipalities, everybody putting this forward will be an added cost. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I oppose SB 57.
Thank you.
Gene Hopkins. I'm a 30-year floor layer. I'm a representative of floor covers. I oppose this bill. I find it largely a solution in search of a problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Jose Santana. I'm the Regional Director of the East Bay for District Council 16, and I too oppose the bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, council members. My name is Juan Calderon, and I am the East Bay Business Representative working for District Council 16, assigned to Local 12, carpet linoleum soft tile layers. I represent Contra Costa, Alameda, and Napa Solano counties, and I have workers that I represent that work with this crumb rubber on a daily basis. I also am a father of 2 daughters that play soccer, and I'm in opposition of this bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enrique Roacho with the California Association of School Business Officials. We support the study and share the senator's concerns, but we do oppose the prohibition and administrative requirements on schools because of the cost implications, and so we oppose unless the bill is amended. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jack.
Mr. Chairman, members, James Jack here on behalf of Liberty Tire Recycling. We would urge the committee, if they decide to let this bill move forward, to scale it back to just the study only, and that's why we're in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness.
Thank you, members. Good morning. My name is Catherine Brandenburg, representing the Institute of Scrap Recycling Industries. As the previous members have stated, we are not opposed to a study, but we are opposed to the additional language in the bill. We would oppose it unless amended. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness.
Hi, my name is Laura McIntyre. I'm from San Francisco. I actually drove here with my 2 daughters, they're 4 and 6, to teach them a little bit about this process and to support the bill, actually. We all play soccer on all types of fields, and I see them growing up playing with this stuff that sticks to their bodies. I find it in their ears, in their nose, everywhere. And the thought of them playing on something that's so potentially hazardous to their health makes my husband and I think that we should not let them play soccer, which is a shame because it's a very healthy sport for their minds and their bodies. And I just really think that people should consider that it's worth the cost to keep our kids safe and to keep all of us safe doing something that's supposed to be so good for us. So we're very much in support.
So you're in support of the bill?
Yes.
Great.
Thank you. Sorry, I wasn't able to get here earlier.
Welcome to Sacramento.
Thank you.
Apologies, missed our opportunity as well. My name is Alvaro Casanova, and we're in strong support of SB 47, and I'm with the Center for Environmental Health. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional witnesses in opposition for the bill? Seeing none, comments or questions from the committee members? Senator Bates.
Yes, Senator Hill, when you presented in Environmental Quality Committee, I did abstain with the hopes that between that hearing and this, you would have worked out what is essentially a de facto moratorium on the use of the product and the grants, actually, for our school districts. Major issue in my Senate district, and I'm hoping that you are moving in that direction, because I certainly concur with all those who've come forward this morning and strongly support a study to bring finality, frankly, to the whole issue. Are you closer to that?
Well,
Are you
yes,
going to suggest
and if I
that?
may, Mr. Chair, and Madam Vice Chair, the interesting, some of the comments of the opposition say that their projects are stopped. Well, we're not stopping any projects. We're not requiring a moratorium on any projects. All this bill does is require a study, no prohibition for 2 years, and that 3 things occur. That bid specifications for the field that comes before it has to contain at least one option for an alternative product. So you have one for the crumb rubber if you choose, and one for an alternative. That's it. And the school must get at least one estimate for their field from, or playground from a company that doesn't use waste tires in their bid proposal, and that it has to be at a public meeting. Those are the only 3 qualifications, and we're working with the opposition to try and structure that in a way that isn't harmful to those workers that we want to make sure have the opportunity for a job. But there's no moratorium. It just allows for a public process, and that you have alternatives. And we prohibit the use of the recycle fund for an incentive to use crumb rubber. In fact, if you look at the school districts over the last 10 years, they have only used $600,000 of that $50 million fund for an incentive for school districts to use crumb rubber rather than an alternative. So it hasn't worked as successfully. And the other part that Californians Against Waste, they're concerned that this will reduce the amount of recycled tires that can be used, but they fail to mention or realize that in 5 to 10 years, when these recycled crumb tires that are in these fields are removed, they then go to the landfill, and they're not recycled again. So the waste is still there after that period of time. So we are working to resolve the issues, but there is no moratorium. It just requires a level playing field where you have a choice of 2 different products, and that you conduct your business in public, which most school districts do anyway. And that's all this bill does.
I think my point, however, was it is a de facto moratorium on the use of the Cal grant, or the grant, excuse me, for the installation and the product. And what's interesting in that is the fact that they must also present in their study, their proposal, the alternate product. And with no money to actually move forward, the grants being suspended during this study period, I don't know how they would do that. So I abstained in environmental quality because I thought between now and then, or today, you would have, given more thought to that. But today I will have to oppose if you're not going to allow that money to be used for the school districts to actually, move forward with their projects.
Senator Bates, and this is a candidate for suspense, so maybe we can continue to work on
I know
it.
that.
So just for the sake of moving forward, Senator Bell, you have a question?
When I read this bill, Senator, and I noticed the focus on parks and recreation, the fields and so forth, but recycled tires are used in a lot of different areas, like road construction. How does this bill affect those kinds of uses of recycled tires?
It has absolutely.
Will it have an effect on them in terms of, like if you're doing a study on the environmental situation, will it kind of stop the use of road projects having recycled tires for a while, or how would that impact that?
This only applies to, and you can still, every school district can use, any school district or park and rec department can use recycled crumb rubber in any aspect. There's no moratorium. They just have to get a level playing field bid from someone else. And use of crumb rubber in artificial turf is, I think, 10% of the use of recycled tires or less. Most of it goes into roads and other uses, and it's been very successful in that. And I might add, the City of Los Angeles Unified School District in 2009, the New York City Park and Rec Department have both banned this crumb rubber in their turf. 2010, then Attorney General Jerry Brown settled a case with the nation's largest makers, requiring them to reduce the levels of lead. I mean, I can go on with studies around the country that and agencies that have decided to stop and prevent the use of crumb rubber in their athletic fields and park and rec departments.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Bell. Department of Finance, do you have a file on this item?
Jacqueline Wong Hernandez with the Department of Finance. We do not have a position on this bill at this time, but we note that OEHA estimates costs of $6.1 million in the California Tire Recycling Management Fund to complete the 11 discrete tasks identified in the bill. We also have costs to the Department of Public Health, which would range depending on their level of involvement, but could be $3.2 million if they're doing the biomonitoring study. CalRecycle estimates costs of $2.5 million from the same fund to work with OEHA to produce the required analysis, and the Department of Toxic Substances Control estimates costs of $81,000. I would also note that the special fund in question, it has a structural deficit.
Thank you. Members, seeing that there's no other questions on this item, and it is a candidate for suspense, Senator Hill, would you briefly like to close?
No, just would appreciate your consideration and suspense, and we're looking forward to working with the opposition to make sure we can craft the special solution to that issue.
Thank you, Senator Hill. Without objection, this bill will go to
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members.
Thank you. Next, we have Senator Hernandez, who's here. That is SB 125, members, and that does have a due pass recommendation. Senator Hernandez, please
Good morning,
proceed.
Mr. Chair and members. Thank you very much. This bill updates California statutes to reflect the new Post-Affordable Care Act environment by doing two things. It reauthorizes the California Health Benefit Review Program, also known as CHBRP, and updates their scope of work, and it revises the open enrollment period for the individual market consistent with the new federal regulations. As we know, existing law, it requires the University of California, UC, through CHBRP to assess mandate bills. However, the outdated CHBRP state statute, which was written 13 years ago, doesn't reflect significant changes that the ACA made to the market, such as establishing EHBs and creating health insurance exchanges. This bill will broaden CHBRP scope to work so that the review will include a look at benefit design, cost sharing and premiums without any additional funding. On the open enrollment portion of the bill, the ACA requires the Federal Health and Human Service Secretary to set annual open enrollment periods for health insurance exchanges, and final regs issued in February change the open enrollment dates from 2016 coverage year. This bill updates California's statute in line with those regs. This is an urgency bill because open enrollment begins 2015 for the 2016 coverage year, and because CHBRP is set to expire in July. And Mr. Chair, members, I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Hernandez. Any witnesses in support?
Pell, on behalf of Health Access California, we're very pleased to be working with Senator Hernandez on this bill to change the open enrollment dates and update the role of the California Health Benefits Review Program in light of the Affordable Care Act. We're very pleased that among the things they'll take into account are social determinants of health and health equity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Capel. Next witness.
Mira Morton here on behalf of the California Chamber of Commerce, also pleased to support this measure. These analyses are very important to make sure that we make informed, prudent decisions that will, with known costs for the state in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support of the measure.
Tim Kammer on behalf of LA Care, and we support SB 125 as well.
Thank you. Witnesses in opposition to the measure. Finance, do you have a file on this item?
The Department of Finance is neutral on this bill. Changing the open enrollment period for the benefit year 2016 onward is consistent with federal guidance. and we believe that extending CHIPR's sunset date and expanding the scope of their analyses may be helpful, given the changes brought about by the ACA.
Thank you. Before we open up to questions from the committee, I just want to reemphasize, Senator Hernandez said, we understand this is a legitimate urgency given that this bill has to be signed by July 1st in order to meet the new criteria. We have seen a very similar bill to this that has passed with bipartisan support, but I also want to be very clear, this is an extraordinary situation. This is not going to be the practice of this committee moving forward. So with that, I'd like to open it to questions or comments from the committee members. Move the bill. Can we get a motion? Moved by Senator Bell. Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is to pass to the Senate floor. Lara?
Aye.
Lara, aye. Bates? Aye. Bates, aye. Bell? Bell, aye. Hill? Leyva? Leyva, aye. Mendoza? Mendoza, aye. Nielsen? Nielsen, aye.
6-0, that measure passes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Senator Anderson. Senator Anderson, we have SB 237.